Welcome back to Mixtape Stories. Today we have my wife.
My
wife. I didn't do the Borat thing. You did, because you hate when I do it. And I don't blame you.
Thank you.
Shawn Gessay. Arthur Sanzarelli. LaShawn James. Don Sean DeMarco. Blink Sean 82. I like that one.
Nice.
Shawn is doing Disney Pop Stars. This is going to be a lot of fun. When I first talked to you about doing an episode, I think I had mentioned we could do like couple stuff or something like
gross.
Yeah, and that was exactly your reaction. You're like, no, I want to talk about Britney Spears. So we're going to talk about Britney Spears and a bunch of other people. What is your relationship to Disney and Disney Pop Stars?
Well, first of all, Eric, thank you for letting me out of the kitchen long enough to join you today. I hope I don't let you down. I know you'll let me know if I do. What's my relationship to Disney? I was a child in the 90s who grew up and lived and was raised by the Disney Channel. So nostalgia,
of course. But do you have the same relationship with Disney that you do with Nickelodeon, or is Disney stronger? I feel like Disney's stronger for you.
No, so I would say I vacillated between the big three, which was of course Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, because we can't have a conversation about youth without thinking about Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, shout out Worm. I love this new him tattoo. So yeah, I feel like I bounced in between, but also it was heavily predicated on what my older brother Ryan was into. Like if he was feeling Cartoon Network, then I was into Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, we're I learned this term recently called mirror twins, which is when you are literal polar opposites. Like Ryan and I are 3 years apart, but we are mirror twins. We have literally nothing in common, and that informed so much of my formative years.
I feel like you guys have way more in common than you would admit.
A lot of people tell me that, but we if I was into dairy, he was into vegetables. As you can see, a huge conflict in our household.
So you picked these 5 artists, these Disney pop stars. These are all, I guess, that qualify for this. It's 5 pop stars who started out on Disney, and maybe not necessarily, they weren't pop stars for Disney. Not all of them were, at least. What went into kind of coming up with this list of narrowing it down to these 5, and then narrowing it down to these 5 songs specifically from them?
So I'm a mainstream gal. If I'm never the one to say I was listening to them before they were cool. So that probably also aligns me to Disney Channel, is it was a natural springboard from I watch Lizzie McGuire daily to, Hilary Duff has an album out. Let me peep that. So I think there was kind of a theme of the pop stars who I feel like as a society we owe an apology to, and just celebrating artists who put themselves out there and were badly denigrated for it. I think we should just do the right thing in 2025 and atone.
For sure. I think that, there's always been this stigma about child stars and the way they're treated, not just financially, of course, but even just as human beings. We're going to get into, some of these people specifically who had rough lives and are currently living rough lives. Mm-hmm. And looking back on them as they were kind of new to the scene and new to the music industry, just being really sad about what could have been for them, not just as an artist, but as a person. When you're picking these songs, were you looking into things that kind of wrapped around them as people, or was it just about what you liked, the songs that you liked best by them, or songs that you wanted to talk about most?
So I think because my relationship with music is so superficial, a lot of went into picking these songs was this will be a really cool way to pivot into talking about things I know more about, like TV and movies. So we'll get more into it, but there's certain things where the Britney song that I chose, I was this is so like evocative of this other corner of pop culture that I'm so into and can talk about without sounding like a doofus. So it was sort of strategic in that way for the purposes of this episode of this podcast.
Cool. I'm glad that you took that into consideration. And I mean, even if you would have just picked like 5 random songs from, that would have been fun too. But I think a lot of this is, I mean, when I think of Disney and kind of Disney, like from a cultural standpoint for like Disney pop specifically, like you're not a Disney adult. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But,
is there not?
there's layers, I'm sure. But when it comes to like Disney culture from this era, especially from like the early to mid 2000s, and I kind of consider you like an expert on things.
Yeah, you should.
When I find out something through like my TikTok algorithm about something that I didn't know Disney,
like how
really...
we ended up on Disney Cruise TikTok all of a sudden. I don't know why that happened, but thank God it did.
It's wild that that's a thing.
In these dark times, thank God I can see Jake Thomas breaking it down on a cruise.
Jake Thomas of Lizzie and McGuire fame.
Not
cracking up.
Hi, dog. This is proof. Everyone documented Teddy likes me better.
Okay, so let's just jump right into
Okay.
I'm not going to argue there. So your first song is something that you've talked about a lot as long as we've been in a relationship. Selena Gomez.
Yes, shout out.
The song Bad Liar. Selena Gomez, of course, was famous for being on the show Wizards of Waverly Place. Did you watch that show? Like, was that something for you, or was that a little bit after your Disney watching time?
It was a little bit after my time, but she did have... So I'll also say I was probably watching like Disney Channel shows longer than I probably socially should have been. Selena Gomez had like a guest bit on Hannah Montana as her pop rival, Michaela.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Miley quipped, "Shut up, cockroach." And I was like, slay. Perfect thing to say. So I kind of knew, and so she looks, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of her last name, but to me, Selena Gomez, when I first saw her, she looked like a young Carla Gugino.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought she was such a, like, cool looking girl. Like, she was, like, she's younger than me. I don't think significantly, but she is not that much younger. But she just looked cool and she looked confident and she put something out there that was like sort of unique to Selena. Like, and I think I don't know anything about this, but like in terms of Wizards of Waverly Place, like she was a sarcastic, artistic sort of like it seemed like they were sort of like stretching the limits of their brand a little bit, and like she was interesting to me as like a persona. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of like a through line with some of these pop stars. If they weren't the main character, or if there were multiple main characters on the show, like if the show wasn't named after them, I think a lot of them that played this kind of like sarcastic, I wouldn't call her a sidekick because she was one of the main characters, but this very like, I guess, precocious for a kid, you know, they have good like comedic delivery.
That's what I was going to say. And it was, because we've talked about this before, like I think that there's a particular style in like Disney comedies, like Disney, like children's and teen programming, as there should be. You know, it's kind of like winking at the camera. I don't really remember ever feeling like Selena was doing that, even as a kid. Like she had like something else in her delivery that stood out to me. And it wasn't so much of the like, I'm playing into the fact that I know there's a laugh track, or I know that there's like this
there's
thing.
No winking at the camera.
Yeah, like it felt more, and she said that she was a really big fan of the show Friends, like specifically Jennifer Aniston, and that shows. Like I think she was pulling from a lot of like even references maybe before, like when she would have been integrated, like that wouldn't be contemporary for her, but it seemed like she was sampling from, and it was really cool to see in like a young person like that.
Yeah, it's funny. She said Jennifer Aniston because I see a lot of like Matthew Perry in her like her wittiness.
Mm-hmm.
She's a little bit more toned down than a Chandler Bing, but like it's a little bit more natural. And that's not any hate to Chandler Bing because it's my favorite character from Friends. But yeah, it's funny how she was really able to embody that without coming across as like the stereotypical Disney overacting and like all over the place and just selling with your whole body as opposed to selling with what you're saying type of acting.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence in it, I thought. And I noticed, like, I was like, that's really... And I will say, like, again, I'm not someone who is artistic in that way. So when I notice a performance or, like, a lyric or something, that's, to me, if I'm picking up on it, then that's how I know it's good, because otherwise I'm like, oh, that sounds nice. Cool.
So the song you picked was Bad Liar, and this is a song that's considered kind of like a turning point for her, or at least it was a turning point at the time. She was kind of promoted, her earlier stuff is a little bit more like pop, like more bubblegum pop. This is a little bit more like R&B-ish, you know, it's a little bit more like soothing and a little bit more, it's cooler. It's a lot cooler. It's a lot more laid back. She interpolates a song that you love from Talking Heads,
Yep.
Psycho Killer.
Yep.
And when that's one of her favorite bands. She co-wrote the song with the two writers, and her and one of the writers like love Talking Heads. And when they were talking about the ideas for the song, the third writer was like, oh, like, why don't we just use the bass line from Psycho Killer? And that's how the song starts. And it's something that we kind of identified. So when we listen to this or like Psycho Killer on shuffle, I would forget which song was which until like 3 seconds in.
Yeah, it was. And it's funny because my obsession with Psycho Killer came when we watched CBGB, like, in quarantine. And then I obviously didn't stop listening to it. Like, your Spotify Wrapped was crazy that year. But so I heard Bad Liar before I had an awareness of Psycho Killer. Again, a theme in my life where anyone who is like musically inclined probably like got heartburn listening to that. But I remember I was driving home from work, and this is what I mean by saying like Selena has something that is like notably hers, because I was driving home from work. It was San Antonio summer. It was hot as shit. I can curse on this.
It's a podcast you can cuss on.
Yeah, and so I didn't call back. I didn't have like great AC in my car, so I'm like suffering, and I just have the radio on, taking my exit, and the song starts, and I'm into it, and then there's this, like, I'm not gonna mimic it because that would be embarrassing for me, but she has this like sound that she makes, like, it's sort of like a moany sound. It's like, it's very adult, kind of like sexy sound, and I instantly knew. I was like, holy shit, is this Selena Gomez? Like it was, because it's her voice. Like, it's just, there's something like people, it's like Gilbert Gottfried has a really notable voice, like, you know it's him. And I was like, this is such a departure. I don't know what this is. I really like it. And so similar to Psycho Killer, where I would not stop listening to it, I remember me and my friend going to the gay strip a few times that summer, and I was like, I'm just going to put Bad Liar on a loop. I hope that's okay. And he was like, yeah, of course. I was enabled.
Say no more.
Yeah, he was like, no, dumb question. Yeah, just do that. And so we would listen to it, and I like that at the core, the song is about, like, you know, you're really into somebody and you don't necessarily know yet if it's reciprocated, and so you're trying not to like overdo it or scare them away. So it's at its core, like, thematically very vulnerable, but there's something so unapologetic about like the way she sings it and the delivery. It's like, to me, it makes me think of like journaling, where you're like, I can, like, here I'm just safe enough to be like, I am that into you. Like, that is great. And she captured it in a song. And I think every Disney star is going to have that moment where they're like, I have to like break the shackles of like being this kid star and being this role model that I didn't really ask to be. Yeah. And so I think that was sort of Selena. I don't know that was like marked a turning point so much as it was just like, I always knew her as someone who, in spite of like being a Disney star and the expectations that come with that, it always sort of seemed like there was an authenticity. And I was like, I feel like this is the song you genuinely wanted to make. I don't feel like someone like pushed this on you.
For sure. And I think it's also just a testament to her taste in music. I mean, the fact that this doesn't happen without her like love for Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm.
She's described them as like one of the best bands of all time. So it was very much, and they got permission from them. Like they reached out, and David Byrne really liked it. Tina Weymouth said it's nice to be appreciated as a female bassist, which was very rare for that time if you weren't a singer to be a female musician in a band.
Unless you're the Misfits.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, we learned that. Yeah. That there was a female, I think the guitarist, the original guitarist.
No, I thought it was the bassist.
Okay, before Jerry Only, right?
Yes. Well, I guess. Sorry, I thought you were a fan.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
on. Go on.
But yeah, and you know, and then they gave them permission, and so they've got a writing credit on there for it's an interpolation, not the exact. They didn't like actually sample it, but it's the singing bass line. And there's that appreciation there, and I feel like that leads way to kind of like what happens with Olivia Rodrigo years later.
So I don't know if you saw, but David Byrne was on stage with her at
Bonnaroo? Maybe?
Wait, was it Bonnaroo or was it Fire Island? Maybe it was probably Bonnaroo. That just happened.
Yeah.
Why did I think Fire Island?
Fire Fest?
Not fuck
Fire
Fire
Fest. I was gonna say like that didn't happen.
No, we didn't say
We
Fire
don't talk about
Fest. We don't talk about Fire Fest.
But yeah, I you know, I think it also showed that she's a lot more diverse in what she likes and what she can do than she was before. And this isn't to like down talk any of her previous music, but it was very like formulaic in terms of the pop pushing bubblegum sound. It was a little bit dancey, you know. Love You Like a Love Song is very dancey, kind of Kylie Minogue-ish. But this one really, it's I think it's actually kind of a big risk that it's so much layered down. It's so much more chill, and it's still, but it's a little bit more adult, but without being
right. That's what I'm saying. But it's not
exploitative, yeah,
and
or graphic.
It's not overly sexualized. Yeah. It's like there's still like some very teen feelings in a way. Like you're grappling, like you don't know how to navigate like this attraction to somebody, and so it is. But that's what I mean though, is like I think that she took these themes and it. For the most part, I won't say this is always true in her career, but I hope this was true then. It seemed age appropriate and autonomous. Like she did have, like she could just say, like she had the decision-making culpability at that point to say like, yeah, I'm just into it. Like I like this, so I'm going to do it.
For sure.
That's why I love Green Day, because I feel like whether you love it or hate it, Warning is a great album in my opinion, but they made the album that they wanted to make, so commercialism be damned.
It's underrated, I think. I didn't appreciate it as a kid, and as an adult I kind of love it. But yeah, with Bad Liar, a lot of, I guess because of the title, a lot of people kind of speculated it was about like being cheated on in a relationship, because I guess they just didn't read the lyrics.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that sucked for her though, because I feel like anything she produced, and yeah. I will say anything that Justin Bieber was releasing too, it was always going to be at what era, like at what like pinnacle in their relationship does this apply to? Like, I don't think there was anything that they could have done differently. Like, irrespective of what music they were putting out, everyone was going to like find the linkage between, oh, this probably is representative of what she was feeling at this time, and we can never know unless they tell us, and they don't owe us that.
Yeah, and I think that when people actually like read the lyrics, and even like one of the songwriters went on Twitter and was like, you guys are half right. This is not about a breakup. This is about what you just said, like hiding your feelings. Mm-hmm. That's when people started speculating like, oh, this is about The Weeknd. But she wrote it a year before it came out, and before she met The Weeknd, before they dated. Mm-hmm. She wrote it in like around 2016. It came out in 2017 as a single and wasn't released on an album until 2020. So it's got this long, like, kind of lifespan. And I think that the fact that it was able to maintain that type of, you know, mainstream success for essentially 3 years is just a testament to how good the song is. Yeah,
it's very, and I don't really think that it's that similar to the rest of her body of work. Like, it is a standout, and I love it. It's one of those songs, like, I'm never gonna skip it. Like, if it comes up on shuffle, I'm always going to listen through.
Yeah, and a lot of critics loved it, too. A lot of critics who did not like her previous stuff, or just her, like, co-sound in general. I mean, they are comparing it to, like, Dead From Above records from, like, the early 2000s New York like indie scene that just sounds like this but like glossier.
Yeah, because I mean it's her vocals, like they shine through. Like anyone who was going to criticize like you're just a Disney darling, but I remember reading at one point that like, or seeing an interview rather, where I think someone was being interviewed, like some Disney exec, and they didn't pressure her, but they did like offer her like, are you like, let's get an album out by the summer. And she was like, no, like I'm still acting. Like my focus is acting. How do I focus? Like, how do I become good at acting if I'm also singing and performing and dancing? So she does like seem to do that throughout her career, where if she is going to commit fully to the thing that's in front of her, and then she will come back to the things that interest her. And so I think she waited, and she cared very much about doing a good job at putting out music. And so, you know, I think unfortunately there was no scenario in which she wasn't going to meet criticism for people not accepting that she's not her character on her show, but she did some cool stuff with it.
Yeah, and I think the art that came out of the song too is really interesting. There are 2 music videos for it. One of them is a vertical music video, which was like for social media. That was the first music video to ever premiere on Spotify, and that one's a little bit more like artsy. The director, Petra Collins, she is like a very like big name in the art world in terms of these like types of films, and she it's her, and she's got like hospital bandages on and things like that. And it's just her like kind of like laying down on a bed and singing the song. And when interviewed about it, they asked about like what was the intention, and it was she had just gotten out of treatment for lupus. She has lupus, and she had those bandages. And notice I said bandage, not Band-Aid.
Shout out. Now say diaper instead of pamper.
So she, the director Petra, like thought it was really beautiful and very like vulnerable, and asked her if she would be okay with filming it that way, and she did. And it's very vulnerable, and it's an expression of the song itself about having these feelings, being vulnerable, and like not being able to hide these feelings for somebody. And I think it really translated well. There's a second music video that is
the costume changes.
Yeah. She plays 4 characters. Yep. It's directed by Gessay Peretz, who is in like one of my favorite bands, the Lemonheads, and he did a bunch of episodes of Girls. He directed a bunch of episodes of Girls, and he heard the song, he was offered it, and he heard it, and he just saw like Dazed and Confused in his head, so he set
it's a very 70s feel.
Yeah. I think he like the time frame he thought was like 76, 78.
Same.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying specifically.
I thought the same thing, clearly.
But more specifically, yeah. And then, so she plays 4 characters. She plays like a teen. She plays the teen's mom, the teen's dad, and then
like teacher.
Yeah, and a teacher. The teacher that she plays is kind of like got a Farrah Fawcett do, and the whole thing is that you're left to believe that her dad, played by herself, is having an affair with the Farrah Fawcett looking teacher. But
it's Farrah and the mom.
Yeah. And
spoiler.
She also has a crush on the teacher as well. So there's like a love triangle between the teen, her dad, and the Farrah Fawcett gym teacher.
Don't say there's a triangle between the teen and her dad and Farrah Fawcett. That's not.
It's like a pointer. There's no connection in that. But that's what she had pushed. She actually pushed. Gessay Peretz said that like she pushed for that to make it like a same sex like infatuation. And yeah, it extends her acting skills. Like it's goofy because she's got such a like kid face that it's like she's playing dress up, but she's just really good in it that you, after like 10 seconds, you kind of just forget that. I mean, you know, it's her. Yeah, because
she takes it seriously. Yeah. She leaned in. That's the thing. She did not, because you can definitely overact in that scenario and take your viewer out of it, but she's a professional.
For sure. So like in talking about music videos and kind of fun music videos, takes us to our next song, Sabrina Carpenter, Please, Please, Please.
Fuck yeah.
This music video is it's considered like a sequel to Espresso because it picks up kind of from where it's left off. It's not officially like in the canon of the Sabrina Carpenter verse.
Very Holiday meets Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
We're gonna talk about Green Day.
Let's see how many references I can make.
Game. So Sabrina Carpenter is from Girl Meets World. That was her kind of big break. She was like the sidekick. She was the Shawn Hunter, the equivalent of Shawn Hunter, to Riley Matthews. Why did you pick this song?
For me, so it was hard to like narrow it down to a Sabrina song, but there was no way we could do this topic and not include Sabrina, given like how present she's been in my life the past 6 months. Just having so much fun with all of her songs, banger after banger. Please, Please, Please was unique because, again, for me, as someone who doesn't sing, doesn't songwrite, it felt like the vocal range was kind of interesting. Like, she starts in one place, she goes very low. It's also a little bit more, like, vulnerable for her. Like, in some of her other releases from the same album, you know, she's talking about, like, I've got you wrapped around my finger. Like, I don't actually give that much of a fuck about you. And now even in this song, she's still got that edge of like, just don't embarrass me. Like, but there is still this element of like, don't embarrass me, but also like, I love you. Like, don't fuck me over. Like, so I think like it sounds cool. It's seemed a little bit different from the rest of what she was putting out in the album. Also, fuck Barry Keoghan. That's really why I put this on here. I need to talk about that piece of shit. I love Saltburn, but whatever he did with Breakfast Hilary or did not do, how do you fumble Sabrina Carpenter? I'll say that with my full chest. Come for me, internet. Don't come for me, internet.
We could just turn this into 40 minutes of you talking about how much Barry Keoghan fumbled the bag. Yeah, it's funny because when they filmed the music video, I read an interview with the music video director, and they asked him about, like, this is before they were broken up and before it was revealed that he had cheated on her. But they asked him, the director, about, like, casting him. Like, was that your idea? Was that her idea? And he was like, oh, it was her idea. But I was so glad because Barry Keoghan, faults or not, is a very good actor. And when Sabrina,
he's fine.
He's an Oscar nominee. He's great in Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, Oscar nominee.
Yeah. And he's great in Saltburn too.
Well, there's parts of him that are great in Saltburn.
Just parts.
And Sabrina, I get it.
I can't even lose my track. Now Barry Keoghan's dick is just like invisible in the middle of this, like,
whoa. No one said anything about his dick.
So there was a behind the scenes for her music video, and they asked her like what made her decide to cast him, and she said that, I mean, she was trying to think of like the best actor for this part, and her quote was like, "Oh, I've got like the greatest young actor like right next to me, and why not Barry?" And
Chalamet was busy or what?
I guess so. But yeah, that's how. I mean, it was her idea to include him, and regardless of what happened with their relationship, I mean, it really works for the music video. There's obviously like a Bonnie and Clyde element to it, but there's also like the director was talking about how like he was looking at famous kind of couples who were like disgruntled couples or what's the word, like disruptive couples, like Pam and Tommy, and then like Dennis Rodman and Madonna specifically, looking at like movies like True Romance, you know, and even Thelma and Louise. He said it was like there's these different elements that he included for the styles of when she's going to the prison to pick him up, to take him out of jail or out of prison. That was a lot of the influence in going into the music video. Yes, quite. But you're right. She just does showcase her as an actress, and I think that when you have these Disney stars, especially coming from Disney, like we said, like Selena and a lot of these other pop stars are kind of an anomaly in the sense that you think Disney acting, you think this over the top kind of boisterous, and they're very common. She kind of played a similar character to Selena Gomez's character in Wizards of Waverly Place, very like kind of witty and wisecracking, and she always had like.
I feel like they were sort of different. Like,
Oh yeah.
Selena was more of like the Tamara Campbell, and Sabrina was more of the like the after school special Kimmy Gibbler. I think I didn't really watch much Girl Meets World, but I get a lot of the clips on TikTok.
It's
and
my rap name after school special, Kimmy Gibbler.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hit us with the mixtape then. Can't wait to hear those bangers.
That's a good point, though. I mean, she's not on the same level of like over the topness, but there is definitely like a precociousness to it with Sabrina Carpenter's character. You've probably watched more Girl Meets World than I think most of it that I've consumed is through like TikTok. So maybe getting like the highlights. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, she's really good in the music video. I think that, I love when like nowadays it's hard because you don't see a lot of music videos that go beyond like lyric videos or just like individual performance videos. And when there's like an actual story and they really like go all in on the story and then like the cinematography and everything, it's really nice to see that in 2024, 2025.
Yeah, I think she's a performer like through and through. She's very committed to like the visuals, the storytelling. Like as talented as I think she is as a singer, I think it's more than that. Like it's a very like holistic experience.
Yeah, and it really captures the song too. Like you said, I mean, she is so confident in herself, but there is a vulnerability there. And even if the vulnerability is just don't make me look bad, like you said, she still loves this person. And there's just so many, it's such a spectrum of emotion from a singer that goes beyond just like don't break my heart and don't make me look bad. Mm-hmm. Which is ironic because of what ended up happening with their relationship. And it's just I think that it's weird to like talk about it in hindsight, especially at the time. I didn't think that was something that would happen. I thought if anything they would just break up, but to have it end the way it did, it was just really like kind of self-fulfilling in a weird way.
Yeah. I agree. And like, that's the thing. I'll never understand like putting that much on the line and like, cause that's a shitty thing to do irrespective of anything. But like when you have now like allowed yourself to venture into their professional, artistic, creative space, like you are indelibly linked now. And to do that, like I feel like that's now going to be such a like part of the story, and he has no place. Like he has no right. He's whatever, Saltburn. Like I'm so mad on her behalf. Like I don't think that she needs me to be. I think she's fine. Yeah. She's more than fine, obviously, but it's just at the time I was like, fucking seriously, like trash.
Yeah. The song itself is really interesting. It was produced by Jack Antonoff, which I didn't know until researching for this. And I watched this video about him putting together the song. And we talked so much about the music video that the song is just so, like, there's so many layers to it. The chorus, when she sings in the chorus, it's like 8 vocal tracks. Mm-hmm. Some of them are duplicated, but Jack Antonoff describes it, and he's talking about like when I wanted it to sound like the gates of heaven opening, and now I'm not gonna be able to unhear that. When I hear that, like the strings behind it, there's like flute behind it. He said he was going for like an electric light orchestra meets like ABBA, and even there's like an aspect of Dolly Parton in like what he was the sound he was trying to get.
I feel like even visually, she sort of taps into that. Like her chicken shop date appearance, people like commented she's got a very like Grand Ole Opry sort of like classic country star appearance.
Yeah, for sure. Have you heard the version with Dolly Parton?
No.
So they did a version together, and I think it's just channeling the Jolene of it all. Like, they're very kind of similar songs in the expression of emotion that they're going through, especially for confident women who normally write about being confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell
me more about women's confidence.
Just waiting for the sound bites at this point. I'm not, because from a privilege level, I don't need to tell you anything because you know more than I do.
True.
Yeah. You should just take over the podcast right now.
I shall. Okay, next song. I think. Oh.
What is the next song?
I'm 90% sure it's "Drive Me Crazy."
Yeah.
Britney Spears.
That's correct. Britney Spears, of course, from Mickey Mouse Club fame. That's where she started. That's where she got her first break. Why do you pick this song?
Okay, so I did give this disclaimer at the beginning. I love Britney. We have a lot. Everyone collectively with their full souls needs to apologize to her for just like the hate and the attention that she got in the early aughts. We took such a bright shining star and just squashed it. We extinguished it. But this song specifically because of the classic Melissa Joan Hart film, Drive Me Crazy. Great movie. Minus Stephen Collins is in it briefly. Fuck Stephen Collins. But yeah, I was like, oh, great. If I don't have anything smart to say, we can talk about Drive Me Crazy, the movie.
So yeah, this is an interesting song. So the movie tie-in is really interesting because the original title of the movie was Next to You. And this song was set up to be on the soundtrack, and they're like, this is like Britney Spears is just like right after Baby One More Time comes out, she blows up, and they're like, what if we just change the name to Drive Me Crazy? It's weird to think about that movie being called Next to You because I don't know how that works in terms of the storyline itself. For those who aren't aware, the movie is about these two teens who one of them has a crush on a guy, the other one gets broken up with from his girlfriend who she thinks that he doesn't care enough about world issues.
No, it's deeper than that. I'll do it. So Melissa Joan Hart is the star, and she is a popular, she's a very, motivated student. Adrian Grenier is her next door neighbor, and he is, very invested in social causes. He's dating Allie Larder, who we know as Brooke Wyndham from Legally Blonde. And so essentially what happens is Allie Larder wants to protest, medical testing on animals. And Adrian Grenier can't get on board with doing that. And so she dumps him because she's like, okay, so you're performative. You don't actually care about the causes that are important. And then Melissa Joan Hart eventually will explain to Allie Larder, his mom died of cancer. He has a very complicated relationship with medical testing. Obviously, you insensitive fuck. And then they end up together, Melissa Joan Hart and Adrian Grenier. So do their parents. I really wish that had ended up on the editing floor, but here we are. We work past it.
One thing I do want to add is completely irrelevant to this episode of the podcast is this is what the first time I ever heard the Donnas, because the Donnas are in this movie under their other name, the Electrocutes, which is just fun.
And the video was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Designated Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Designated Dave. It was the other one. Designated Dave was the designated driver. They had another friend. There was 3 guys in the group.
But the movie's, it's not on the level of 10 Things I Hate About You, but it's still a rewatchable. I think that's still fun to watch, and I still get a lot of
It's in that category. It just didn't I don't think it was as accepted as a cult classic, but it is that flavor of movie. But MJH really pushed back hard at the suggestion of the movie name change. She was like, okay, that's not going to stand up. That's not going to age well because who is going to remember Britney Spears in 6 months
Did she really say that?
Yeah. And she actually recently was like, I was wrong. What did I know?
Clarissa, the person didn't explain it all.
No, Clarissa was wrong. So, and she ate her words too.
Yeah,
it's not like she doubled down, right? She was like, that's whoops.
Yeah, I was going to say that the song is people probably remember the song more than they remember the movie. And the music video. So, before I get into the music video itself, the song, it was a third single from Britney Spears' debut album, Baby One More Time, after Hit Me Baby One More Time and Sometimes. And she talks about how Hit Me Baby One More Time was her introduction to the world. This was a juggernaut. Sometimes was more of a summer, fun summer, song just to listen to at a bonfire or something like that. And Drive Me Crazy, she wanted Drive Me Crazy to be the next step. This was gonna be what blew her up.
She had some pipes.
Yeah. There's making the video, the MTV show making the video about this music video, and Darren Henson of Darren's Dance Crews, if you remember those videos, the dance choreographer.
Obviously.
You just were looking at me weird.
No. Please. Do you want to ask me if I know now that's what I call music?
So he is the choreographer for this. And it was fun to kind of see the dynamic between him and the director. I can't remember the director's name because he didn't have a dance video. So they are kind of going back and forth, but they're doing it in a very professional way, at least in front of the cameras. And there are certain things that Darren wanted to do for the choreography that wouldn't fit, and then vice versa, the director wanted him to do. And through it all, they are still kind of acknowledging the wear and tear that Britney's going through. This is still early in her career, but they have like these time lapses of like these shots, and it's like she's working 12 hours a day on the choreography and the parts, and it was just, you could see it back then, and it's just such a bummer that like no one really called it out.
I think it was like, I mean, it's a machine. Like when they realized her star power, they really latched on. And to not to give anyone in her sphere any credit at that period of time, but like I think she did love it. Like, because she knew at her, like, I think she knew she was a performer. She was a perfectionist. She cared very much about the product that she was putting out there. So she was a perfectionist in that way. And I don't think that she was someone who was like afraid of hard work. But what she wanted, like most people want, is like a loving, supportive, like team surrounding her. And like, just who do you trust at that point? Like, if you can't trust your family, you have friends who, like, insidious actors are actively keeping out of your life. Like, I can't imagine how confusing and scary and lonely and sad that must have been, on top of a schedule that is just wholly unsustainable. And then I also feel like for a lot of starlets, because Britney had like stagnated in her career at points, like between Mickey Mouse Club and between like really launching her musical career, there were lulls. And I just feel like every celebrity, every like performer, everyone in a creative space knows like it's, when does the buck end? Like, how long does this last? If I say no to something, will they ask me anything else ever again? Yeah. And it feels like she really got swept up in that because nobody had her best interest in mind. Even if they were not bad people, I think everyone was just so excited to be in her orbit. And she was such a unique star that it was hard not to like put the pedal to the metal. But regardless, she needed someone there to just advocate for her. She was so young and so talented.
Yeah. I mean, she thought of the concept of the music video herself. Like, she wanted the dork. She says dorky, but she still was like,
because she's brilliant. She's a creative, like, genius.
Yeah, the dorky waitress to like the night transition, and then they re-recorded the song, and for the Stop remix, and it's called the Stop remix because she says stop in the middle of it. I'm waiting for you to finish it.
I don't know what's happening.
The one thing that you don't know that I know.
Well, I don't know what you're doing. So what do you want me to say?
They re-recorded a remix. It's called the Stop remix because for the music video, there's a point where there's like right in the bridge, she just yells out stop, and there's like a dance choreography thing in there, and that's
only I may dance.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's become kind of the more popular version versus the album version is the Stop remix, and I didn't even realize that was not what was on the album, but it makes total sense because it's kind of the visual aspect of it.
Oh, Britney, I love you. Quick tangent. Fuck Justin Timberlake. There, I said it.
Yeah, I know we debated doing a Justin Timberlake song just so you can shit on him for 10 minutes.
I know, but no, there you go.
That's all he needs. 10 minutes.
2 seconds. Fuck Justin Timberlake.
So to kind of go into the next song, you wanted to talk about not specifically the song With Love by Hilary Duff, but you wanted to talk about her Good Morning America performance in Times Square.
Yes.
So Hilary Duff was on Lizzie McGuire, and she is kind of noted as like the first like generated pop star for Disney. Obviously, there were pop stars who got famous through Disney, but they didn't get they didn't start their music career through Disney. Britney Spears was on Jive, Christina Aguilera, all of them in sync.
Fuck Lou Pearlman.
Yeah, yeah. So Hilary Duff is kind of the first to kind of go through this like machine that of Disney pumping out these artists and really making them multiple platforms with the acting and the music. The song With Love is off of her fourth studio album, Dignity. Came out in 2007. It's the second single. We know why you picked this song. What do you want to say about the Good Morning America performance?
It's so good. So part of why I wanted to talk about it is because it's had like such a resurgence on TikTok, and Hilary Duff has such a good sense of humor. Like she's leaned in. But Overcompensating came out on Prime. Me, like millions of others, just consumed it as quickly as possible. I'm not on the pulse enough to know, because I'm too stuck at like 20 years ago. I didn't really know Benito Skinner as as a creator before Overcompensating. And so I was sort of going back through retrospectively and looking at what he's put out there. And one of the things that he does is he has a podcast called Ride that he co-hosts with the actor who plays Grace in the show, Mary Beth, and her last name is escaping me right now. But they do, like, I saw like the performance from the live show and they like redo that, and someone commented, so Mary Beth is like very much in the spirit of like this, like give it 1%, and then Benito is just like he's doing more of like a little bit higher energy, and the comments were like, Mary Beth 10 out of 10, give us nothing. Benito, tone it down. And I was like, oh, that's so good. It's just so like, it's so silly. But I love Hilary Duff, and I think her career is one that's really interesting because like she was on the come up at a time when like so many stars like did burn out. Like a lot of her contemporaries just were not treated kindly by the media. And it seemed like Hilary went another way. And I don't know, like she sort of laid low. She got married very young. She had a son, and then she sort of like started finding a new path for herself in TV. But I think her music career is just so interesting. I was reading something today. Apparently, like she had advocated to start a music career because she needed a way to distance herself from the character Lizzie McGuire.
Oh, really?
And I thought differently. Like I swore to God in my brain that I had read something or saw something where she had kind of talked about it was like she was encouraged to do it because of the commercial success of Lizzie McGuire. They were like, let's, we have all these other avenues that you can pursue. And she was like, no one forced that on me, because, there's some well-meaning quips that like singing is not her temple. Like she's got so many gifts, and maybe that's not like her biggest strength, but who cares? Like her songs, classics, all ones that I would re-listen to, and this one is just so much fun because like what the hell is that performance? I
think when we were talking about narrowing this list down, when you came to this song, you're like, yeah, that one song from that performance. Like,
I just
the performance has like overshadowed like even like the name of the song, overshadowed the song itself. It was parodied by Bowen Yang and what's her name, Mickey Madison on SNL.
Mikey Madison. There it is.
Just
Oscar
stuck in a
winner.
Disney Mickey Mouse Club. Just got
Unlike Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
Mikey got us at you.
1 for 1, 1 for 0, 0 for 0, 0 for 1. But yeah, it's parodied on SNL. Like you said, it has kind of resurged on TikTok. There was like the Hilary Duff dance challenge, which she of course participated in, and she like in her caption said like that was a 12% type of day.
I mean, it's so good because like, I mean, we're just talking about Britney was so like criminally overworked. I don't know what Hilary had going on that day, but if it was the fact that she had to get up at 3 a.m. and do like same, I would have done the same thing. I would have phoned it in, but it's like in the annals of history now. It's so good.
So, with the sound of the song itself, I mean, she was 20 or like 19, I think, at the time that the song came out. And she, like, this is a more adult sound. It is kind of, we talked about Selena Gomez having kind of a Kylie Minogue sound. This is before that, and it still was compared to Kylie Minogue, very dancey, kind of that time. But it's weird just because, like I said, we kind of, the dance itself has overshadowed the song itself. What do you think of the song?
I that's the thing. I genuinely love, like, this probably isn't the standout song for me. Like, this isn't the one that I'm going to think of first if I'm actually thinking of, like, Hilary Duff musically. But I think it sort of falls into that, like, well, no, I guess I'll, like, walk that back before I even say it. I feel like it is very poppy, and she definitely entered music, like, with that maybe style and range and idea in mind. But then she did sort of go into, like, a more soulful, like, somewhat even darker, like, arena. So yeah, I don't know. I like the song. I think it's a lot of fun. I love pop music. But it's, Hilary is perfect. I would do anything for her, but it's not, like, the most, like, it's not my favorite song in the world.
We watched How I Met Your Father for her, and that show's not great. Okay, I'm just not going to try to make any jokes anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So there's an article from Paper Magazine that talks about how Hilary Duff needs more respect. Like I mentioned earlier, this is where I kind of got that idea from. Is she is the first, like, manufactured Disney star in terms of moving to the pop stardom, not just from a musical standpoint, but from the musical style standpoint as well, because she was the first to kind of go from this, like, pop rock sound to more dancey pop. And this was kind of emulated a little bit with Selena Gomez, with Miley Cyrus even. The fact that she was kind of the first, I feel like, and people obviously remember her and, like, still stand for her. But I feel like because of millennial culture and because of everything that she was embodied with, we talk about those, like, platform, like, Converse and stuff like that. And that's Lizzie McGuire core. And she's forever associated with that. Do you think I mean, I know she's having, like, a resurgence, but do you think that she is kind of making this comeback to where she is more respected in that regard for kind of setting this trend up for these future pop stars?
No, I don't think she's necessarily cited as being that. Because, like I said, because, like, sort of the media attention around her at the time, like, when we were, like, consuming that, was different than a lot of her contemporaries. And then I think she reached a new audience when she was cast in Younger. So she would, like, a lot of critical acclaim. It's a really good show. But I think it just sort of, like, reawakened, like, oh yeah, like, we're excited for, like, we love Hilary Duff. Like, it's great to see her again. So I don't know that she's necessarily, like, it's consciously something where people associate Hilary Duff with, like, these, like, styles returning, or, like, this sound that a lot of, like, Disney alum adopt. I think it's just more so, like, I think Lizzie is something that we can all, like, fondly look back on, but it seems like there's been less uptake from, like, people younger than us.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, regardless of the fact that style that is kind of coming back a little bit,
But I hear that. So now I will say, like, people sort of define that as, like, a Y2K look, which I think is very accurate. Funny Y2K is, like, the term that's applied. But, like, for the longest time, there were, like, early aughts styles, like a Hot Topic, like, very mall, like, punk look that was like, oh, I'm so 90s. I'm like, I don't think that's, like, I wouldn't say that was, like, what I was wearing in the 90s. Like, I looked like Blossom in the 90s. I had giant hats with flowers on it, and when I was wearing a Hot Topic, that was post 9/11. So it was just, like, I actually think that there's, like, some mismarks. some poor citations.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic too because like you have so much in your fingertips in terms of like looking up the history of these things. Not that anybody needs to do that, but
like if it's just trendy, like
Yeah.
it's okay not to. I think like I give everyone permission not to know. Like, I mean, I was gonna say not to know who like Jeffree Star was, but Jeffree Star is also like
you don't need to know who
it's just like such a like MySpace icon that's what came to my brain, but
Yeah.
that's not a good example.
But at the same time too, I think that like it's funny to see these like some TikTokers talk about like, oh, I didn't realize Y2K referenced year 2000. Like I thought Y2K was just what we called this, and it's so weird because one, it makes me feel old, but also like in terms of like finding out like origins of things, like we said, it's not necessary, but also like, did we lose wonder? Like, does the lower generation like just not have any like curiosity? Because I feel like our generation had a lot of curiosity in like, we would talk about like, you know, everything cycles every 20 years or so, you know, in terms of trends and things like that. I mean, a lot of like third wave emo was kind of predicated off of kind of recognizing 80s new wave in a sense.
But did you know that? Like, I don't think it's so much about losing wonder as much as it is just like not get like, has there ever been anything when you were like in your teens that you didn't know but your friends used frequently, and so you're like, oh, I'll look stupid if I ask? Like, there were tons of things that I like mispronounced or didn't know, and I wasn't gonna say I didn't know because I didn't want to look like stupid or uncool. Like if all of your friends are like, yeah, I'm really into like a Y2K look, like I love low-rise jeans, I love flares, I love this, and you also like the style, you're probably just gonna say like, same.
Yeah.
Y2K, like I heard that from Tara Yummy or whoever. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's still curiosity, but you're like, there's some things that you're just embarrassed to like look into. And I mean, there's a lot of things on TikTok. I'm like, I don't get this reference. So I look for it. And it's actually kind of like weirdly hard to find if it's a pop culture reference. Because sometimes people take a long time to get to the point.
Yeah.
Myself included. I just spoke 5 minutes about what?
No, not at all. I thought you were about to burn me for a second. Like, this is why you have a podcast, Eric.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of going into your last song, you picked Miley Cyrus, We Can't Stop. Miley Cyrus, of course, became like mega famous through Hannah Montana. I mean, she is a Nepo baby in the sense that she is Billy. I don't even know if she counts because Billy has had one hit. Like, he's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but I think it was like a big hit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But she exceeded him even before she left Hannah Montana. I think she kept him employed. So is he like a Nepo dad in that sense? Is there like a role reversal in that sense because of how big she blew up?
No.
Okay. Never mind.
There you go.
So this is the first single off of Bangers, which came out in 2013. This is also kind of a big shift in her sound and her as a person. I mean, she's kind of popularized, at least from a mainstream perspective, the shaved sides, long top type of do, and she embraced a lot of hip hop production in her sound. And Bangers itself is, you know, in reference to the culture itself. Why did you pick this song?
I picked the song because I really slept on Bangers when it came out, and I'm sad. I'm sad that I was there. I was in rain, like, because normally with some of this stuff, it's like, oh, I wish I was like 5 years older or 5 years younger, and I could have like really connected to it like in the way it was meant to be. Now I just feel like I appreciate it, and I was there and I didn't get it, and I was not into it, but I also wasn't like I wasn't really into dancing or like club scene, and I think that probably would have had a bit of a difference. But I mean, her vocals are so good. That album, the visuals, some of them are tough. Like, I'm just gonna say it. I think she would probably agree. Like, it's not always a home run, but she was trying something, and I have to like give her a lot of praise for that. Like, that's not always easy to do. I feel like that was 2013 was probably the last time the VMAs were actually like fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, and like I would credit Miley with that. Like that was a really controversial like performance, but that is, with probably the exception of like Chris Rock getting slapped, like the last time I went to work the next day and we're all talking about the same thing. Like, did you see the VMAs yesterday? Like, and it was everybody, like my old ass bosses and like my cool young coworkers. Like, we're all like, what the hell was that? And so Can't Stop is just like it is now like part of the lexicon. I feel like it's referenced all the time. It's so like Miley. It really like I think it accomplished what she needed it to. It changed a lot of things for her, for better or for worse. But I think she like solved a lot of things that she was maybe like questioning at the time.
It's so wild to like grow up in front of the world. And I know this is like kind of the through line with all of these artists, in the sense that like were child actors, or they kind of grew up. They went through their awkward years, they went through their teen years, and their like early adult years where they thought they knew shit and they probably didn't know as much as they thought they did. We all do go through that, but we have, I don't want to call it luxury, but we have the privilege of not going through that in front of millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like, I mean, she's a lot more like self-aware, I think now. I think at the time it was very like, this is definitely the beginning of her, like, she wants to like rebel, and it's kind of goofy, and it's a little cringy in hindsight, but it's also like very like kind of pure in a way.
It's very, because she was what, like I was probably like 22, so she was maybe like 20, 21, even younger than that.
Right.
Like what a thing to do, like what an age appropriate thing to do. And she met all these new people, and all these people were interested in collaborating with her too. Like, so yeah, it's going to affect her sounds. She's going to do something different that's hers, and like work through some of the difficult emotions that she was experiencing in her personal life. And also just like sometimes when you are growing up and you're not allowed to, because like this old version of you is just like immortalized. Like, I feel that she like lit a match and burned it all to the ground with bangers. She was like, nope, I'm not going back.
Yeah, it's so funny because I saw when they premiered the video on Ryan Seacrest's show On Air, they released a video and she was there, and then they took calls, and the first call was a little girl, and you could see it in her face. Like, she's always a professional, Miley Cyrus, and she's like, you could see it in her face still, like, oh, like, you know, this is obviously the demographic I had as Hannah Montana, but it's weird that like this isn't who I wanted to connect with. And she didn't say that so much as just it felt that way, just what I know about what she was trying to do. And the little girl was just so like flabbergasted. It was so sweet, and she was very sweet to her too. She talked to her mom, but you could tell as a little girl, she's like, I watched all of your episodes, and it was one of those things where she was appreciative, but also like it was just weird because they're talking about doing Molly and partying, and there's like a 6-year-old girl who knows her as Hannah Montana. So it was interesting to see that kind of dynamic. But at the same time, it's so fun to kind of look back at it because she is a very different person now. And that was kind of her through line to get to where she is now. I want to say, I think it broke the record for the most views on YouTube in 24 hours, 10.7 million views. In the first 24 hours release. It reached 100 million views in 37 days. That record was broken when she released the Wrecking Ball music video. So she was on it. Like she had the mainstream music media like in a chokehold. Mm-hmm. I remember when it premiered because I was watching the end of Breaking Bad. I think it was the end of Breaking Bad with some friends. We hadn't seen it because we didn't have cable at the time, so we were watching it the next day. And then we saw like on MySpace or something that like a notification. They're like, oh,
MySpace.
It was something. There was
MySpace would have been weird for 2013.
Maybe it was Twitter. Actually, it probably was Twitter.
Yeah, it was either Twitter or like even Instagram.
Yeah, I wasn't big on Instagram back then, but it probably was Twitter. And so we were like, oh, let's check out this. Like everyone's talking about this music video. When we watched it, and we like gathered around a laptop because it's pretty like good. Yeah. and we're watching it, and we're just like looking at her like, this is fucking nuts. Like, this is weird. And then we watch it again and again.
It was because it was so unexpected, but also like, you know, whether there was an intention of this too, but it did prompt a lot of important conversations about appropriation and cultural sourcing and all of these things that, like, on a macro level we should be thinking about and talking about and weren't. And so I think, you know, maybe some things were done well, maybe some things could have been done differently, but it definitely like got people talking.
Yeah, for sure. And it is like, it's done in like, it feels like a fucking American Apparel ad. I don't even know if there were actual commercials for American Apparel back then, but it feels like the Terry Richardson style. Speaking of, like, we've talked a lot about dirtbags in this episode, but it's very like high contrast. Like, it's almost like it's like you're watching it through a Polaroid camera. The way it's lit, and it is very artsy, and it doesn't, I guess it's debatable if it's pretentious or not, but there is an aspect of it that feels very like kind of natural. And I think that's what we were like, as back then, at least I was really drawn to that, even though I wasn't a fan of her because I thought she was kind of annoying back then. My feelings have changed a lot about her. I was just kind of hooked to this, and it wasn't even like it wasn't even like a provocative thing. Like, I was hooked because it was provocative or it was enticing or anything like that. It was just it was so interesting.
Yeah. And I think it was good for her too, because I feel like she was self-aware enough to see that she was being villainized and maybe overexposed a little bit. I mean, there was the whole, like, there was the backlash when there was a video of her like smoking salvia and she like kind of made a joke about that on an SNL appearance, but for the most part she was doing the thing of being apologetic. I made a mistake, blah blah blah. And then she was like, no, I did not make a mistake. I smoke weed all the time. No one smokes more weed than me. Not true. But then she was like, Molly. And then I was like, oh my God, we're talking about Molly? Like, this is nuts. Like, this is unhinged. But she did, like, that, all of that, like, seemed suddenly like it was just like, okay, fine. Like, instead of shaving her head to like to transform into something less recognizable of who was getting attacked, she put out a really good album.
Yeah. And I mean, did you know this song was originally written for Rihanna?
No, I didn't, but that makes a lot of sense to me. And it would have been very good if Rihanna had put it out there. It would have been very different. And I think visually it would have not looked anything like what it does.
This was, I think, around a time where I can imagine her being presented it and is like, this is a hit, but this is not what I want. Like, this is not like, she was kind of going through a metamorphosis around this time too, and in what became like her like confident style. But it's funny knowing that now, like when I listen to it, I hear Rihanna, like the auto-tune, especially like in Miley's voice, you can hear like imagine it being Rihanna really easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like they both have like sort of like a deeper, like they can go deeper. Like, I feel like there maybe are similarities in the sounds that they make with their mouths.
So it's funny because, I mean, it's hard to talk about this song without talking about Mike Will Made It. He produced it. And I don't know. I've seen rumors that they were dating at this time. But I think he was kind of, people talk about like, when it comes to like artists outside of hip hop getting into hip hop, the hip hop crowd or the hip hop community, they kind of need like not an avatar, but like I guess for like a better word, just a guy,
Gandalf,
a Sherpa, if you will. A Gandalf would be, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was her connection to that. I mean, you and I don't know, we've talked about it jokingly, but I love 23. It's so dumb.
Do you want to talk about what part of 23 you like?
I'm home. Her ad-libs are so dumb, but I love them so much.
Looking like a model who just got a check. It's like, what is happening? Why do I love this?
And you mentioned about the appropriation, especially in the video. Like, this is where she discovered twerking for herself, and it's it's so like I'm sure she's embarrassed now, not because she was twerking, but because she was twerking the way she was twerking. And
yeah, and like a lot of people's introduction into like twerking or like just more broadly like culturally what was happening, they assign it to Miley. And I don't think that Miley asked for that or wanted it or invited it, but it is a problem nonetheless. And so yeah, like I said, I don't recall conversations around appropriation being as big as they were at the time that Bangers was released, and I'm glad that it was.
Yeah, and you know, I think around 2017, 2018, she got a lot of criticism because she put out a statement of why she left like hip hop in her music because of like a lot of misogynistic lyrics, as if that's not like an undertone of most, if not all, genres. And she said a lot of things that were like pretty racially insensitive. Some of them were dog whistles. Some of them were things that were a little bit more blatant, not dog whistles, but like microaggressions. And some of them were pretty like, especially like for, was it 8 years ago? You know, it feels like in that time, especially in the climate of that time. And then a couple years later, some like YouTube creator made this thing about Miley being his like problematic favorite. And she left a very sincere like apology in the comments. And it wasn't like a press release. It didn't feel like it was done by her team. It felt like she genuinely sat down after watching this video and just apologized for all of that. Didn't make any excuses. She talked about her privilege. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say like she deserves a pass for that, but I feel like for somebody like that to do this and take accountability and that kind of platform without making a big deal about it, I think that goes a lot to how much she's grown as a person and how much she looks back on this era that simultaneously like, defined her, but also made her learn about who she was and who she needs to be.
And who she needs to recognize on that path too. Yeah.
So this is one of 6 songs she has that have made 1 billion streams on Spotify.
Hell yeah.
She got honored with some like Billions Club. And there was like this Spotify interview, and she just talks about how she felt so confident in not just the song, but who she became. And she really like, it's obvious. It was obvious then too, but this was her like trying to like cut the cord on Hannah Montana. Like this is her like putting the last.
She had some false starts too. I will say, I remember when I was at SCAD, she had that song "I Can't Be Tamed," and that
the album.
And I felt like that was supposed to be. It had like a very like Nelly Furtado like man eater feel to it. Yeah, but she dressed like a bird, and that was kind of fire, but like also Perez Hilton like ripped her for it. Remember Perez Hilton?
Yeah, another person who has a tone, but still, I think there's a lot more complicated feelings about him.
Tried to. He's made steps
for certain things. He just has a lot of transgressions that have not been addressed. Yeah,
he was brutal.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that, and she talks about how like when Party in the USA came out, she was a brand ambassador for Walmart. Now she's a brand ambassador for Dolce & Gabbana, and like the growth she sees, and that didn't even feel like a brag so much as it was like, look how far I've come. Like it was more of like, it's crazy to think about where I'm at now to where I was when I first started my career. Do you have any other final thoughts about Miley or the song in general?
I don't think so. No.
What were some of the songs or some artists that you couldn't include on this list?
Olivia Rodrigo, we talked about that. Really, that hurt that she wasn't on here. Christina Aguilera, of course. I feel like, respectfully, I would have still maybe gone Jessica Simpson. I know Mickey Mouse Club didn't work out for her, but it should have.
I didn't even know. Was she on it, or did she like auditioned for it?
She auditioned for it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she didn't work out. It's okay. It's okay. Things happened as they should have. So yeah, there were just so many choices. We could talk about Lil Wayne, going back to Lizzie McGuire, but
her song is really good. I'd heard it for the first time like a couple of weeks ago.
That's the thing that like bothers me, is that like people go in like expecting it to be trash. And then it's like not until like hindsight, they're like, not bad. And so like that's, I guess I wish we could just like course correct and just enjoy it in the moment.
Yeah.
Like who cares? It's fun. It's silly. It's great.
It's hard to like, because that era was definitely around like the third wave emo era. And it was like a pop punk song. It was like kind of really like upbeat and really like a lot of guitars in there. And it was very different than what we saw with a lot of these pop stars. Mm-hmm. You kind of see that in the movie Freaky Friday with Pink Slip with Lindsay Lohan's band in that. And it's weird because, I mean, I feel like Lindsay Lohan doesn't count necessarily as a pop star, even though she had some pop success, because she's still, I think people think of her as an actor first. And I feel like all these people you listed are kind of more like pop star first.
I don't know. I don't know if I would agree with that for Hilary Duff.
Oh, that's fair. That's especially now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess she kind of falls in the same line, but for very different reasons as Hilary Duff. They're about the same age too.
Do we really want to talk about their whole like thing?
It was over Aaron Carter.
May he rest in peace. Yes.
Yeah, there was like, I didn't know that until I was doing research for this, or at least
they were like
it.
Bitterly hated each other. At least like publicly they did. I lived for it.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I would love to do like another one of these if you wanted to do another one somewhere down the line, because I mean I'm always down to talk about Olivia Rodrigo, but I think that you really hit, especially like you had to talk about Britney Spears today, you had to talk about Selena Gomez. I feel is really like that's your girl. So yeah.
Demi Lovato.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Her and Selena Gomez, I always kind of thought as contemporaries, and then Selena Gomez just kind of took off from there. I feel like she kind of, and then this, to be fair, like Demi Lovato, they both went through a lot of stuff, health wise and in terms of being exploited. So that's not to take anything away from Demi Lovato, but Selena Gomez, I think, has exceeded in star power.
I think they like did different things with their career. Yeah, like I feel like they were just like different choices, not for better or for worse, like just different.
Finding out that Demi Lovato was like really into like metalcore, I thought was so fucking cool. Yeah. I would love to see her do an album just to see what it sounds like.
You should have her on the podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, Dan.
So yeah, is there anything you want to add? Any shout outs, any plugs?
I don't do anything. No, sorry. Good choice and guest.
I disagree. I think that you were super talented, and I had a lot of fun doing this with you, and I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad we had a little bit of champagne before we started, a little bit of wine before we started.
A little bubbly.
A little bubbly.
Yeah. You sound obsessed with me, by the way.
Thank you so much for being on, and thank you for like doing this.
You're welcome. Thanks, Teddy. Thank you.
And thanks for watching Mixtape Stories.